Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome to our coffee times to discuss books and horror. And today I'm here to talk to you about the books that I managed to read in the month of May.
It's coffee time!
So May was a very busy month for me. If you don't know guys, I have a regular job, then I have extra jobs that I take on the side because I'm a freelancer, and then I of course have to read, have to watch movies, plus I do YouTube. So some weeks or some months are very busy for me, plus I'm now in the middle of bathroom renovations at the moment as well. So I have been quite busy in May. So in the month of May, I only managed to read 6 books, but honestly, I'm quite happy. A couple of them were a little bit longer, and honestly, 6 books is pretty good for a month that I've been really busy. I think also because I went all in during Old School April. In May, I was a little bit burnt out, but 6 books, like I said, is still really good, and I'm still very much on track on my Goodreads goal. So let's talk about the things that I did read in May. Also, if you're new here, welcome. We like to rate our books with coffee mugs, and I always start with the lowest rating, so we always end up on a positive note with my highest rated book. The Lamplighter by Crystal J. Bell, and this is a book that I received by Ned Galley. This is one that I wanted to try because it was very much out of my comfort zone, but the story sounded really good. So this is YA gothic fantasy, and I thought personally that I was gonna have a little bit of more of horror in it, and it didn't, which I think it's a little bit what kind of was a little bit disappointing for me. But honestly, this book had like spot on atmosphere. This was a very slow burn and cozy read. It takes place in a small town by the sea. We are in the 1800s, so people are still very old school. It's a little bit also about female rage and how females are treated back in the day, how having a job was not important as long as they found a husband, and how they were not trusted with jobs and stuff like that. And I did enjoy to see that, and how our main character was determined to live her life the way that she wanted to live it. So in a way, this was kind of like Bridgerton social drama together with supernatural. We followed Tempe, and she has taken over her father's job after he died, and she has now become a lamplighter. This is a job that you take, and then basically before night falls, you go and check that all the lights are lit up in these lamp posts, and you make sure that, you know, everybody's gonna be safe, because when it's dark in the middle of the night and the fog comes out of the sea, people tend to disappear. So Tempe's a little bit nervous about this job because she's the first female that is gonna take the job, and everybody's judging her, and she feels like she has to be the very best. Plus the job is also what it is paying basically for her mom, her sister, their food, and so she really cannot lose this job. But then someone disappears in the middle of the night, there is an investigation, and this book, like I said, is not as much horror as I had anticipated, but the atmosphere, like you could feel it. I could see myself in this small coastal town when the night came, and it was the fog and the atmosphere, the creepiness of it all. I thought they did a great job, and I think people that love slow burn gothic horror will really enjoy it. Despite the book being a lot more about social status, like I said, and that kind of vibe, towards the end we start to get into the horror elements of it, and it was not exactly what I had anticipated, which I guess is good because I did not see that coming. It might not be for everybody. It goes a little bit into the fantasy side of things, but I do believe that if you don't mind a slow burn, this book is worth your time. Moving on to Girls of Little Hope by Sam Beck-Bessinger and Dale Halvorson. So this is the book pick for my Patreon, and we enjoyed it, but I feel like this is the one that we have enjoyed maybe a little bit the least, because it is a very long YA book, and I think the length was a little bit of a detriment to the book. Now, don't get me wrong, I had fun with the book. I enjoyed a lot of parts of it. The beginning was very gripping. I really love the ending. I just feel like there is just so much in the middle that it can drag a little bit. We follow three girls that live in this very small town, and their friendship is one of the best things they have. Despite them being very different from each other, they find comfort in their friendship because it's a small town, everybody gets judged, and they want to do something different. They want to go on an adventure, so they decide to go into the woods to try to find a cave that a legend says it's a gold mine inside, and so they want to find it. However, when the girls go into the woods, they disappear. They come back a couple of days later, but only 2 out of the 3 girls come back. They're naked and covered in blood. So of course the police talks to them to investigate to see what happened, but the girls claim that they don't have any recollection of what happened to them. So where were they for 2-3 days? What happened to them? And where is the third girl that is still missing? Where is Kat? The story is based in the 90s and it is told from multiple POVs. We have the 3 girls that go missing and the mother of the girl that is still missing, Kat. The book starts as a small town mystery to solve. We still have a girl that is disappeared, and the thing is, towards the mid-mark of the book, there is a tonal change and we venture into a complete different angle of horror, and that might not work for everybody because the book is not exactly what I expected either. I hoped that this book was going to be a small town mystery disappearance, and it merged into something different. I don't want to go into details on exactly what happens, but it does get a little bit more fantastical or sci-fi-esque towards the second half, and that might be, like I said, a hit or a miss for a lot of people. I really did enjoy the characters. I enjoyed that nothing is what it seems in this small town, and I enjoyed the theme of the book. It's almost like the author was trying to portray with the book, or the authors in this case, were portraying like how it is to be a teenager, the changes that you undergo in your body and your mind when you are a teenager, the struggles of being a teen in a small town, the judgment and everything that comes with it. And there were many things that I enjoyed about this book, but I guess for me it dragged a little bit. I feel like it would have benefited if the book would have been a little bit more edited down. The Watchers by A.M. Shine, and this is horror fantasy, and I'm really glad that I read this book. It's definitely kind of what I had anticipated, but it was also surprising. I did not expect the second half of the book and where things ended, so I really had a good time with it. We follow Mina as she is driving when her car breaks down, and she's very next to, like, the road is next to this woods, and she decides to go into the woods to see if she can find a cabin, someone that is there, find a phone so she can call for help, because nothing that is electronic is working. So her car is not working, her phone is not working, so she has no way of calling for help. So she hopes she can find a cabin with a landline or something so that they can call for assistance. And so she ventures into the woods when she sees this woman that is asking her to run and to get into this kind of like shelter. She runs for it, and once she's inside of this shelter, she gets explained that she cannot get out anymore. The woods are not safe, there are creatures out there, and she's stuck in this shelter with the rest of people that are in there. The creatures that are outside are called the Watchers. That's how they like to call them, because they like to watch the humans at night. The humans turn on the lights so that the creatures can see them. And so basically that's how the story starts. The story is told through multiple POVs, which was helpful to understand the different characters' backgrounds and the reasons why they were in this shelter. And of course, their aim is survival. Find a way to get food and get water in order to survive. But of course, they are all still trying to see if there is a way where they can make it out of the woods alive. I thought the plot was great. I really enjoyed the ending. I feel like in the middle it can get a little bit dragging perhaps, but honestly I think this was a great story, especially if you love stories like A Quiet Place or Bird Box. This is kind of like in the same vibe. And now I'm ready and really excited to watch the movie, which is going to come out here in the cinemas already in June. So I'm really excited to watch it and let you guys know what I thought of it. The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson, and this is a true crime mystery about a girl that is trying to solve her mother's disappearance. We follow Belle and her father Charlie. So Belle's mother disappeared 16 years ago. Belle was a baby, she was only 2, but she was also the last person to see her mother alive. Since she was only 2, she doesn't have any memories of that day. She doesn't remember if her mom left, if somebody took her, if there was another guy or someone that came to the car. She has no memories of it, so she doesn't know what actually happened to her mother. It's been 16 years, and so they have been approached by someone that wants to make a documentary about the true crime story about the disappearance, because it is a very interesting story. There is a lot of like holes in the story that hint to a great mystery, so they want to do a documentary on it. And we follow the crew as they are recording the documentary. They are interviewing the people that knew Rachel, including the daughter. And suddenly Rachel reappears. You already expect that because of the title, so it's not like a spoiler or anything. Actually, when I started reading the book, I was like, because I knew it was coming, I was thinking, when is she gonna reappear? When is she gonna reappear? She's gonna reappear now, she's gonna reappear now. And you're kind of waiting for it to happen. And the exciting part is obviously try to figure out what happened to Rachel. Where was she? Is she gonna have memories of what happened to her? Is she gonna have amnesia now? What happened? And so that's kind of like the most interesting, juicy mystery, right? To know what actually happened to her. So this has been probably the slowest burning book that I've had by Holly Jackson. I felt like it started very slow, and I had a harder time to get really into the characters and into the story. I think also because I was expecting the interviews to be formatted in a more kind of mixed media style, and they weren't. So I think the writing style was very different from what I'm used to by Holly, and so that made it drag a little bit for me, not gonna lie. But as soon as things started to settle and I was more aware of the characters and their relationships, and we got deeper into the mystery, I was more and more invested, of course. And also this book has many twists and turns to the story, so it was very twisty, which is something that a lot of people I know enjoy as well. I also feel like the characters in this book, they were all kind of like in a gray area, which is not a bad thing when you have a mystery like this, because you were doubting their motives, you were doubting the statements that they're giving to the police, to the documentary, and so you're always doubting absolutely everybody. At the end of the day, I did end up having fun with it and it was entertaining for me, but I do agree that it's a very slow burner, and for me it was the one by Holly Jackson where it took me the longest to be really invested with the characters. Now let's go to a book that is very different, and that is Diabola by Jennifer Thorne, and this was a big surprise for me. I think I have learned another type of horror that works for me, and that is moody, atmospheric, slow, like horror that is similar to Rachel Harrison. I felt like these gave me the same vibes that Rachel Harrison books give me, and I unexpectedly enjoyed this more than I thought. This is one of the best slow burning horrors I have read, and I think it's because the whole build-up has a purpose and the whole build-up is entertaining, and it's still giving you little things here and there so that you are still engaged and still enjoying. And it has horror spread all throughout the book, but it's really at the very end where everything just explodes. The character exploration here was exquisite. I loved to get to know this family. At the same time, I hated to know this family. It is a very dysfunctional family in one of our main characters, which is Anna. I mean, she's the main character, but you do get to know the whole family. So Anna doesn't like her family much. She feels judged by the family. She rather not go into these family vacations, but she has to. I mean, she believes she has to, but nobody can force her, right? But anyway, she decides to go with them to Italy for the family holidays. They're staying in this beautiful mansion, and you're just kind of following this family as they are on holidays, which is fun, but also they're not the best family. You will get to see all of their dark sides. And then Anna, while she's staying in this mansion, while she's sleeping in her room, she starts hearing like footsteps here and there. She thinks she's seeing a shadow over there, and you know, like the book starts to creep in with the horror very, very lightly, and it starts to escalate until you get to the third act where it's just insanity. The story is like a slow descent into madness, and there's many horror gothic elements added to it to intensify the creepiness of the book. And like I said, when you get to the third act, it's just bonkers. This is going to be great for people that love a good atmospheric slow burn horror, but then ends in a very epic way. And as I've said before as well, it kind of reminded me, this has the same vibes that Rachel Harrison gave me with The Return, you know, those type of books. And so I'm more surprised than I thought I would be, because I thought this was just going to be an okay book for me, but actually I really enjoyed it. And last but definitely not least, we have The Gathering by C.J. Tudor. This was one of my most anticipated books for 2024, and I'm glad to report I enjoyed it. So I'm happy. This book is an exploration of humanity and how quickly we pass judgment on things that we don't understand or things that are different from us. And I thought it was a very interesting portrayal of vampires that are trying to live together with humans. We are in a small town in Alaska that is very isolated, always covered by snow. Sometimes nobody can come in or get out because of the snowstorms, and a murder has been committed. There is a small child that is dead, and everything points out that this could possibly be a vampire attack. And so they call a detective that has experience with this vampire, and she starts investigating the murder, but things are not clear. Not everything is as black and white as it seems, and we're gonna start following different characters from this town, learning about their past, about the background, not just the characters, but also this town, so we get to understand the relationship also between the humans and the vampires, how it was in the past and how it is now. I really love to learn about this vampire and how they think, their social structure, how they live, and you know, where they came from. Like, I just love to learn about them. It's something that is one of my favorite things when I'm reading vampire books. I want to know the lore, I want to know their specific traits, I want to know what kills them, I want to know how they reproduce, I want to know absolutely everything, because that's one of my favorite things when I'm reading a vampire book. This was such a good, fast-paced thriller, really hard to put down. You're really invested. It has great pacing. It has been one of my favorites by C.J. Tudor, and I am so glad because I ordered this specific edition from Waterstones because it was signed, and I was hoping that because I have enjoyed everything by C.J. Tudor that this was gonna be also a hit, and it was, so I'm really, really glad. I think if you love murder mysteries and a detective, you know, doing a proper murder investigation in a small town, but you also love vampires, this is just going to be the perfect blend for you. And those were, you guys, the 6 books that I managed to read during the month of May. So all in all, I'm actually quite happy because I did manage to read 6 books, which is a lot. It's not nothing. Also, a couple of them were chunky, and I enjoyed all of them more or less, but there was nothing under 3 stars. So honestly, it was a good month for me given how busy I was, and I'm starting June really happy. And yeah, so let me know down below if you read these books, what you thought of them, and also what is the best book that you have read during the month of May. I hope that you enjoyed to hear my thoughts on the books, and I hope to see you all, as always, in our next coffee time. Bye!